Hi guys, welcome back. So my PS Pro is finally in and I wanted to share with you the unboxing and first impressions. I'm really excited about this system ever since it was presented in the New York PlayStation event. So it comes, basically as you can see, this is the box. It comes only with a 1 terabyte hard drive. We will come on the hard drive later on because I'm going to replace the original one with a 2 terabyte hard drive like the one I currently have in my PlayStation, because I think that 2 terabytes are really handy in this generation if you download a lot of games and make videos and stuff. So the price for this one in my country was 410 euros almost, because we have a funny tax on the memory, but I think the retail price on other countries is 399 euros or dollars. So as you can see, it comes in the usual current generation PlayStation style box with advertisement for Call of Duty, Uncharted, Last Guardian and Horizon Zero Dawn. This game will be really cool. I mean, I'm really waiting on Horizon Zero Dawn because I think it will be one of the coolest games for the PS Pro. Alright, so what else to say on the PS Pro? Do you really need to buy one to upgrade to a PS Pro? Well, it depends. I think if you have a 4K TV, well, this would be also almost mandatory, because honestly it will be the first device for home entertainment which will fully take advantage of your new high-res UHD TV. This supports both 4K and HDR 10-bit. If you buy a ultra high definition TV now, be sure to buy a model which is compatible with both 4K and 10-bit HDR standard, because that's what you want to use with the PS Pro. And I mean, if you don't have a 4K TV, you will still have benefits of the upgraded hardware. I mean, the PS Pro has a Jaguar core architecture, which is basically an improvement over the existing one, which brings, well, it depends. I mean, if you speak about the 16-bit world, Mark Cerny, the lead architect from Sony, which followed the development of the PS Pro, has stated that this thing is capable of roughly 4 times the computing power of the standard PS4. Now, I think the real figures are for normal programming, normal code, so normal games, not specifically developed for this system, which we will see, I think, later on during the lifetime of the PS Pro. We are talking about a threefold improvement, so 3 times the power of the original PS4, computing-wise. Will it translate to better graphics? Yes. Will it translate to more effects? Yes. Will it translate to a better image also on your 1080p TV? Absolutely yes. Especially if your TV supports HDR. I think to the normal eye, HDR and non-HDR imaging is what you will certainly see as the greatest difference. So you will notice the presence of the HDR. Maybe an untrained eye, or people who don't really focus on details in games, you will not see that. For example, you will have more foliage or more environmental effects, better lighting, better textures. But for sure you will notice that the picture is more colorful, more vivid. So I would say, if you have some money to spend and if you are into graphics, if you really like graphics in games, this is absolutely a must buy. Honestly, my PS4 is doing pretty well, so the graphics are really good, and I don't really need the improvement now, but since it's on the market and it's the first time that we see something like this in the lifetime of a console, so it's the first time where midway through the life of a console, we see an hardware upgrade. So, well, it's kind of a unique event, so I kind of said, okay, it's cool, my PS4 is doing fine, but I have a 4K ultra high definition TV with HDR, and I want to see how better the graphics can be on such a display. And I mean, I don't mind spending roughly 400 euros on an updated PlayStation at this time. So I would say it's not something you must buy, but if you have the money and if you are really into games, I think it's definitely something you want to buy. Okay, so without further ado, let's start by opening the box, and as always, inside the big box we have a completely plain white normal box for the PS Pro. So let's open this one, and okay, so I will move this aside so that we can see what pops out. We have the manuals on top, there's a guaranteed, a safety guide, and an introduction guide, which basically explain you how to connect and how to configure your PS4 Pro. So where the disc goes, where you connect everything. They made some nice graphics, which I also saw in the PSVR unboxing video I made. So they are really putting nice graphics in their manual. So guarantee and safety guide, well, nobody will ever read this, I think, unless something breaks. Now, I would say similar to the PS4, we have the PS4 box. We have all the accessories on the side, and the console itself, I hope it's in focus, it's put in the middle with two spacers to protect the PS Pro itself from shock and vibrations. So here's the real deal. Now we remove the protection, the plastic wrapping. There we go. And finally we have our PS Pro. So main difference you will see from the standard PS4, at least the model I have, which I bought day one, is everything is there is no glossy surface. Everything is plain black. The plastic has a texture, and here on the front we have two USB ports, the Blu-ray drive, the power on button, the eject button, and the LED bar I think will be somewhere here. On the back side there are some nice logos which also act as support for the PS4 Pro in case you keep it flat. Then on the back side we have power input, HDMI for the power cord, HDMI port, the PlayStation camera port, the optical port is still here in case you have optical digital audio output requirements, and finally we have a USB port on the back, which will be really great for the VR box, which needs a USB connection, and finally you can hide the cable behind. And then there's the Ethernet port, and here is the hard drive compartment, which looks like it has a screw down here, which I wonder how you will remove. That's something interesting for later on. And then there's a vent here for the cooling. And I think that's pretty much everything about the PS Pro. So weight wise, I think it's slightly heavier than the standard PS4, not by much. It is slightly bigger and slightly so taller here there is more thickness to it. If you keep it flat, keep in mind it will be slightly thicker. But I think the length is probably the same. I usually keep my PlayStation vertical, and one thing I notice is that still I haven't found a vertical stand for it. I mean, it's quite stable, I would say, with the added thickness, but still, you know, if you have, like I do, cats which are destroying everything in the house, you probably want some vertical stand for this one. So I wasn't able to find one. Then I keep looking if they make an official vertical stand like they did for the new PS Slim. Then let's come to the other box, right here, and inside we find power cord with this kind of plug if you live in my country, which is Italy, by the way. So here you need an adapter or another standard cord with this kind of plug, like used sometimes in laptops or PCs. Then inside we should have a USB cord, nice, which is always useful. So that's a micro USB connector for charging your DualShock, whatever. Another headset, which is nice. I think it's free. It should be the same one we got with the original PS4. So, well, free stuff doesn't always hurt. And finally here we have the new DualShock controller, which is basically the same, not much changes. They have improved the plastics. Here they have, while the old DualShock those were completely black like the outer shell, this one has a grayish color. So I don't know if you can see it clearly, but here the front plate is black like the old DualShock, while the back plate is of a really dark gray color, but it's different and you can notice it. And also the triggers and the analog sticks have a slightly lighter gray color. And I think they improved the plastic, because on my DualShocks I had to replace the sticks on a couple of controllers after intense use, because the center part, the center rubber, was coming apart. Also the touchpad looks different with a more glossy finish, which is good, I think, because there is less smudge when you use it with your hands. And here, I think somewhere here there is a window which will let the light from the LED bar through, so you can see the color of your controller even from the front. And the last thing you will find inside the box is an HDMI cable. Now, really important, with the PS Pro, be sure that you are using an HDMI 2.0 compatible cable, because the data rate required for displaying 4K images is higher compared to the standard one. So the old PS4, if I'm not mistaken, was an HDMI 1.4 standard, which has a really lower data rate than the HDMI 2.0. So you will need a 2.0 compliant cable to correctly display a 4K image. Okay, so final recommendation. If, like me, you enjoy to keep all your games installed, you do a lot of videos on YouTube, you share, you use Share Factory, whatever, you keep music on your PlayStation 4, you keep movies, you will need a lot of space. And you can instantly upgrade your PS4 Pro with any 2.5 inches hard drive. That's the laptop format, the small one. The only requirement is that its thickness should be lower than 7.5 millimeters. Otherwise it will not fit in the hard drive bay. So if you want a recommendation, I bought this Seagate Firecuda 2 terabyte hybrid. That's an SSHD, so it's a normal HDD drive with a small cache, I think. Sorry, I think it's 8 gigabytes of cache, of solid state cache memory. So basically what this does with an internal controller, it registers which sectors, so which files are used most frequently, and moves them to a flash memory. So you have, for example, if the operating system will be moved to the flash, so the booting up of the PlayStation 4 should be really fast. Now, since you want space and you don't want to spend a huge amount of money, a 2 terabyte solid state drive would cost you, I think now, somewhere around 600 euros, dollars, that's the same thing, almost, so way too much. It will cost you more than the PlayStation Pro itself, at least twice the amount of the PlayStation Pro itself. It doesn't really make any sense because you don't want a huge speed, even if the PlayStation Pro has an updated SATA3 HDD interface. So this is basically the serial interface for your hard drive, which uses this connector, is faster inside the PS Pro, so it could take theoretically an advantage over a solid state drive if compared to a normal HDD drive, while the old PlayStation 4 uses basically an old SATA 2.0 standard, which is too slow for taking any advantage out of a solid state drive. But even if this is the case, since the boot time and the load time of the PlayStation, given its dedicated operating system, are really fast, even out of the box, I would go honestly for size over performance, because you need space. You will need space for at least another 3-4 years before the PlayStation 5 comes out. And even in the future, I mean, it's not like you will throw this out of the window. Maybe you will keep it like I do with my PlayStations. So this thing, I bought it for 140 euros. It's a high price for a hard drive, but given the form factor, which is the small one, and the fact that it's an hybrid SSHD, it's a reasonable price. I mean, you can find probably a normal HDD drive, 2 terabytes inside, for slightly less than 100 euros or dollars. So you could go cheaper, theoretically. Maybe if you wait for the Black Friday, you can even get a better deal, and let's say you can get a 2 terabyte hard drive for $90, which would be a reasonable price, I think, to improve the capacity of your PlayStation Pro. Okay, so now I will install this one and start the system transfer. So I will connect my old PS4, which has also a 2 terabyte hard drive, connect them with an Ethernet cable directly, and then use the system software feature, which allows you to transfer all the data from your old PlayStation, your standard PlayStation, to the PS Pro. And when you boot it up after transferring everything, you will find everything, every setting, everything as you had on your old PlayStation. Maybe I will follow up with a video on the first impressions about the PS Pro. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, and subscribe for more, and like if you enjoyed this video. Bye bye!